All right, you guys, happy Friday Eve. We kind of have a fun math fraction lesson today. You get to do some paper folding and kind of experiment a bit with origami. So I hope you enjoy. What I'm going to do is I have the lesson in front of me. So I'm going to follow the steps and I'm going to show you how to fold the paper and like do the folds that it's asking you to do. I won't necessarily give you like the answers, and then you'll kind of answer them on your own. So a little bit together, a little bit on your own. You want to start with your square piece of paper. And a very easy way to do that is if you have a rectangular piece of paper, just give it a fold. If you fold it down, so it's kind of makes this shape, and then you cut this bottom part off, it'll give you a pretty nice square. So I got my square piece of paper. And the lesson starts, so an art of paper folding began in China. Later, Japan's version of paper folding, called origami, became very popular. Origami sculptures are made by folding and sculpting a flat sheet of square paper without cuts or glue. All right, so we're going to give this a try. So for number one, you were going to fold a square sheet of paper in half diagonally. You might already have that fold on there if you had to create your square piece of paper that way. So I'm going to fold mine in diagonally. And then the question you're going to answer is, what part of the square is each triangle? So you now have two parts, two halves. I might give you some of these answers. All right, number two. So now you're going to fold the paper in half again. So we got to go back to that original fold. And then now we're going to fold it again. And if I open it up, what part of the square is each triangle? So if we think about our fraction strips, how would you label each one of these sections? Okay, number three. I got to fold the paper in half again. Okay, and then open the paper. What part of the square is each triangle? So now, if you were to label each one of the triangles you made, so count up how many triangles you have, and what would you label them? So you're using unit fractions, so you'd still have like a 1 on the top, but then what would be your bottom fraction? What would be your denominator? All right, and then number 4 is actually going to give you a hint to that answer. So explain how you know that 8 parts have the same area. So if you think back to what you learned last week, how do you know that these are all equal? And pretty equal. We know that if we're just kind of folding and cutting paper, it might not be 1,000% equal, but they're going to be pretty close. So how do you know that how do you know they have the same area? Give a little explanation on that. Okay, now the next fold is, it says, so number 5 is you're going to fold 4 triangles to the center as shown. On the right, what part of the square is each triangle, and explain how you know. So what that is, I'm going to do my folds first, and then I'll show you what that should look like. So here's the folds. So I folded all the sides in. It kind of makes like a mini square. Fold the 4 triangles to the center as shown on the right. What part of the square is each triangle? Okay, and then how do you know? So you're now looking at all of these triangles. So look at those folds. So what part is each triangle?